Graham Vidler, Chief Executive at the Confederation of Passenger Transport. Graham, tell us about this bus recovery grant and what happens if they don't extend it.
So as you said, Evan, that bus recovery grant is one of a number of support mechanisms which have been in place since the start of the pandemic and which have enabled bus operators across the country to maintain higher service levels than passenger numbers would usually dictate. At the moment, with fewer than 2 months to go until April, we're uncertain what happens when that bus recovery grant ends on the 31st of March. And while the vast majority of services will carry on regardless, there is a significant risk to a large minority of services where the combination of the withdrawal of that funding with falling passenger numbers and rising costs may mean that we have to reduce number of services.
And I think I'm right in saying this is an England issue. Is that right? The nations will have their own mechanisms.
So there are similar issues in Wales and Scotland, but bus recovery grant is specifically an English mechanism.
Right. I mean, would it be fair for the government to say they do put quite a lot of money into buses? They're talking all the time to the sector on how best to support operators, because this is what they said to us, that they are really always looking at the sector. It's not like there's a complete darkness as to what is going on.
No, that's absolutely right. And there is a great dialogue between the sector and central and local government. But the facts speak for themselves, I think, Evan. If we look at the long trend of public expenditure on bus services across the country, we're looking at a 20% decline next year compared with the situation a decade ago.
So comparing it to well before the pandemic, there has been a withdrawal of subsidy to buses.
Yes, that's correct, and that's had an inevitable impact on the amount of services that we're able to put on, and it's typically the lightly used services in rural areas, suburban places, some of the inter-town routes that have suffered most in the past.
Just very briefly, is there a future model where this is much more devolved, the sort of Andy Burnham model we heard referred to, where really these metro mayors just essentially take the money and sort out what they do with it?
So I think all of the metro mayors have got an interest in greater control over local services, as they are perfectly entitled to have. The question that doesn't remove is the amount of money that's being put into the system. You could have a franchise system or a commercial system, but unless you get the right amount of money flowing into the system, it doesn't really make a material impact on the level of services and the quality of services that you're able to put on for passengers.
All right, Graham Vidler from the Confederation of Passenger Transport. Thank you very much.